I think I woke up to quite possibly one of the greatest quotes that I've ever heard on First Take in all of my years of watching First Take. And it goes like this, and it's from Maria Taylor, and I would post the actual video of it, but I can't for copyright reasons, so it's going to be on my Twitter account if you want to see the actual video. But it goes, the black players in those locker rooms that are in the Disney bubble right now should not be held accountable or responsible for changing the problem that they did not create. Truly powerful words from Maria Taylor that I never even took a step back to acknowledge. So what's going on, guys? Your boy Mike here, and I have some remarkable news that we're going to discuss. Before we get to the news, guys, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on my notifications. Your boy has made his 4th video in the past 24 hours, and I'm actually on like 4 hours of sleep right now. I also live stream on Twitch on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays at 9 p.m. Pacific time, and I'm giving away multiple copies of NBA 2K21 on my Instagram and on my Twitter. Both links to those are in the description down below, along with links to the previous part of this video if you guys wanted to see how the saga unfolded and you wanted a timeline of everything that happened. Now that we got all that out of the way, cue the intro. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? So if you guys didn't know what's going on in terms of the NBA, or if you happen to have been living underneath a rock, or you took a 24-hour nap, well, the NBA playoffs were in jeopardy over the past 24 hours after the Milwaukee Bucks opted to boycott their game against the Orlando Magic. This turned into subsequent boycotts of the OKC Thunder and Houston Rockets games, in addition to the Los Angeles Lakers and Portland Trail Blazers inevitably boycotting their games. The boycotts were done in the name of the Jacob Blake shooting, and it was to raise awareness for the social injustices that were occurring in our society today, especially in America, primarily with police brutality. And last night, I guess you could say, it got to a very grim point, because once all those games got boycotted, Adam Silver came out and officially postponed those games, and then a very scary question was brought up. Should we continue to play the NBA playoffs? And the way things were left off last night were kind of scary, because not only did it seem as if the NBA playoffs were not going to continue, but it also seemed like this wasn't a unified front in terms of the protest. Now, there are some players that are unnamed that didn't support the fact that the Milwaukee Bucks came out of nowhere and just decided to boycott their game. As a matter of fact, George Hill even went on to say that this was a decision that was made pre-game. It wasn't something that they planned days in advance. It wasn't something that they sought the rest of the league's approval for. They just went ahead and did it. And while players like Jaylen Brown fully supported the decision and said that you don't even need our permission to go on with something like this, obviously there were some players that didn't feel the same way, and it doesn't make them bad people. There's a lot of variables that go into boycotting the game and potentially canceling the playoffs, and a lot of people's paychecks will be at stake if the NBA playoffs don't continue. That's not to say that they're bad individuals, it's just that everyone's in a different position in life and have different things that they need to prioritize for various reasons. But I think the scariest thing that happened last night was when the players were asked to vote on whether they want to continue the Orlando bubble or not. And of course, you have to understand the amount of preparation it went into going into the bubble and the sacrifices that were made in order for the bubble to happen, and why they were doing it to begin with, to give the players a platform to speak on social injustices, in addition to continuing to make revenue and generate revenue during a pandemic. There's a lot of reasons that they went ahead and did this. And the question was, should we continue on with this, given the fact that players are opting to boycott? And for the most part, most players said that they would like to continue the NBA playoffs, but arguably the most important player out of all those players, which was LeBron James, said that he would not like to continue the NBA playoffs. Now, I want you to understand the significance of this, because This is a man, which I know this is about to be a fairly controversial statement, but we have to agree. This is a man that is near the tail end of his career, in a position where he could win a championship, opting to not continue with the NBA playoffs if given the choice, in the name of something greater. And we have to acknowledge LeBron James' sacrifice. He's not chasing a championship over social issues, and he's been scrutinized for the fact that he didn't acknowledge some of these issues as much as he should have in the past, but he really took a step forward here and said, I am not going to play in these NBA playoffs. So as I'm editing this video, we got a little bit of an update in terms of LeBron James' stance, and it's a very confusing one for the most part, because he changed his position from Wednesday evening during a league-wide meeting of players in which he advocated for the cancellation of the season, and apparently he just had a change of heart, and this is according to Chris Haynes from Yahoo Sports. But he also tweeted this earlier this morning saying, change doesn't happen with just talk, it happens with action and needs to happen now. For my I Promise School kids, and communities across the country, it's on us to make a difference. Together, that's why your vote is more than a vote. #BLM. This morning, we were all waking up with one question in mind: will the NBA continue? And it appears as though the players convened today and they all made a decision. But of course, there's still more to discuss. But for the most part, in terms of whether the NBA is going to continue the NBA playoffs, the players have decided to resume the playoffs, according to Adrian Wojnarowski. Now, that's remarkable news. I originally said in my first video that it would be a waste and a shame of a great platform to boycott the games yesterday, but completely abandon the platform that made boycotting the game so significant. I said that if the Milwaukee Bucks didn't have a game versus the Orlando Magic to boycott, then we wouldn't be here discussing what happened. It wouldn't have been as big of a deal. It wouldn't have been like the #1 trend on Google Trends and on Twitter. So the fact that they're opting to boycott the games yesterday and postpone the games generated a significant amount of awareness, and now players once again have a platform in order to do whatever they want with the platform to try to push for social change and social reform. Now, there's a lot of extra stuff that goes into this because the 3 playoff games today will be postponed, according to Woj, and discussion will be underway on when teams will resume play. There will be another meeting today, according to Tim McMahon, with 2 players per team. So we haven't gotten an official word. Woj speculates that the resumption of playoff games could come as soon as Friday. But there is expected to be a return to this season by the weekend, according to his sources. The meeting today is primarily going to be centered around what plans of action should they have moving forward on social justice issues. So at the end of the day, we're going to get the NBA back by this weekend, which I don't know what the new schedule is going to look like, but it means that we're going to get the NBA back for the foreseeable future. I think this was a A+ in terms of how the NBA handled the situation, how the NBA's players handled the situation, in terms of the good that was done for the world as a result of this. I think I have to give them an A+, because not only are you having your cake and eating it too by being able to play in the rest of the NBA playoffs, but you also generated a significant amount of interest and a significant amount of attention towards this subject. And for that, I cannot have imagined a more better scenario in terms of how to handle this and in terms of the Bucks boycott. So let me know in the comment section what you guys think about the situation down below. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I think I could finally get a full night's sleep, so I'm going to go ahead and do that.